Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hammer's Chat, where the good vibes and good times don't stop. I don't know what that pointing thing was. I'm just hyped. I'm just excited. I'm still giddy. I'm just good after yesterday. You know what I mean? I'm talking to Arsenal fans. I'm talking to fans of any other club that will listen. I'm talking to anyone who will listen. Don't even care if they're in. Tesco. Hounding people, trying to talk to them about how good we are right now, how massive we are right now. This is the best time I've ever had supporting West Ham, I think. Like, the last season, Upton Park was special. The end was even more special. But this is just on another level. This is better than last season. And last season was amazing. I mean, we've got 5 news stories to talk about today, okay? And all of them are positive. I can't think of another time where there's been 5 news stories and every single one of them, there's no real downside whatsoever. That's how good it is right now. That's how grand it is right now. I hope you're not over yesterday, because I'm not. But we've got 5 news stories. We have a documentary that's potentially being made. Interesting. We've got a new deal potentially being spoken about with one of our star players over the past couple of seasons. Very, very good news. We have stuff about the takeover. We have stuff about the stadium. And we have, where we'll start, one of our bright young starlets getting a new contract, and a big contract at that. We go to the club's website for this first story. Divin Mubamba signs his first professional contract at the club. One of those names where if you don't know it already, you probably will soon. Promising striker Divin Mubamba has put pen to paper in his first professional contract with West Ham United. Mubamba, who turned 17 years old on Monday, has been in outstanding form for the Academy of Football over the last year, finishing as West Ham United's under-18s top goal scorer in 2020-21, despite playing up an age group. Huge achievement, big achievement, and it's not the last time he played above his age group either. The forward's 11 goals in 25 appearances for the under-18s led to international recognition with the England under-17s. And this season, Mubamba has picked up where he left off, scoring 4 goals and 5 for the under-18s, while also making appearances for the under-23s against Exeter City this month. Having joined the academy as an 8-year-old, the Newham-born teenager was full of pride in signing his first professional contract at his boyhood club. And then he goes on to say that it's a very proud moment for me and my family, and speaks sort of deeply about his love for the club, how much he's loving being here at the moment, how much he's loving working and how much it means for him to get that first team contract. And it's the sort of story we all love to see. Local boy come good, born in Newham, been at the club since he was 8. Not even a Declan Rice situation, because we have this policy at the moment of signing players from other youth academies when they get released or for whatever reason, or we poach them off them, right? This is someone who's been at the club since he was 8. He's playing above himself, 17 top goal scorer, playing in the under-18s, playing in the under-23s. And given our situation where we only have one striker at the moment, I'm not saying he's going to get a first team game anytime soon, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is we're probably not going to sign 3 in the next 2 windows or whatever. If he continues this form, maybe preseason he'll get the opportunity to come with the first team. Maybe he'll get the opportunity to put his mark on that first team, to experience Premier League football, to experience professional senior football. Huge thing. And the contract he's signing going all the way up till 2024 is a big deal. That's a big investment. That's a 3-year deal. From here up until then, it gives him plenty of chance to grow. And I think there will be an opportunity potentially for him or Meepo to step into the first team and get some experience at some point. And Newham boy come good. What more could you want? Feel good story. Talking about a local boy done good, there is a documentary potentially being made about Mark Noble's career at West Ham United. But before we get to that, do you know what else is good? The One Football app. One Football app, it combines football with social media. So you don't have to see all the guff from other clubs. You know what I mean? You go on the BBC, you go on Sky Sports, you go wherever you get your football news from, and they're talking about Newcastle all the time. Blah, 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 blah. Who's their manager? Who's this? Who's that? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's about to be fired. This, that, and the other. Nuno's not doing well. Those stories I don't mind reading as much. But you don't need it in your life. And with the One Football app, you can follow the clubs that you want, the good side of social media. So you click on the app and it tells you just the West Ham stuff. The stuff you really want to know. In the build-up matches, you think the build-up shows when you think, where did Gonzo get the lineups for an hour before kickoff? It's the One Football app. So check it out in the link in the description below. Thank you very much to One Football once again for sponsoring us. Mark Noble. We're going to the Daily Mail for this one, unfortunately, so it is what it is. But West Ham in talks with broadcaster over documentary for club legend Mark Noble. And here is the words they have written. It's part of a bigger thing they do called Sports Agenda, where it's a lot of different smaller stories put into one. But I'll read it out. West Ham are in talks with UK broadcaster over a documentary about club legend Mark Noble. The plan is to mark the one club man's playing career and his affiliation with the Hammers. It is understood the club are working on proposals to celebrate Noble's 18-year career at West Ham's final home game of the season against Manchester City, when Noble hangs up his boots. It's any way we can mark this guy, I want to do. And a documentary is a really good way of doing it. Because usually you get your testimonial. Not many testimonials go around these days, because it just doesn't happen often, does it? You get your testimonial, you get clapped off at the last game and all that sort of stuff. And all that's great. The stuff they're saying here about figuring out ways to mark his final game when Manchester City have the final home game of the season. Amazing. I want to see all of that. But if you've seen the Iron Men documentary, you can understand just how powerful and emotional documentaries can be in telling stories. And they allow you to tell them in a more in-depth method. You know, don't get me wrong. Look, there's going to be articles written about him. There's going to be news stories, articles. There's going to be videos. We're going to probably make a video, West Ham Fan TV. We'll all make videos about him. But a documentary to market would be unreal. I remember when Steven Gerrard was leaving to go to LA Galaxy and the media were going, there's never going to be another one club man like Steven Gerrard. I'm like, A, not only is there in Mark Noble, B, Gerrard's going to play for LA Galaxy, mate. A true one club player at Premier League level is basically, it's essentially unheard of at this point. And Mark Noble is that captain who's been for everything, relegations, promotions, cup final heartbreaks, financial ruin, everything. And also, if you've seen Iron Man, if you've seen the Iron Man documentary, which I do encourage you to do because I think it's brilliant. It comes across brilliantly in that. That made me love him as a person. I loved him as a footballer. And then watching that and seeing him talk and the eulogy he gave at Upton Park and all of that other stuff made it feel like I loved him as a person. And I hope he gets this documentary because it would be beautiful. A star player over the past couple of years is in talks for a new contract, that person being Lucas Fabianski. West Ham goalkeeper confirms talks over contract extension are underway. This comes via Sky Sports. Lucas Fabianski is in talks with West Ham over a new contract at the London Stadium. The 36-year-old goalkeeper's current deal expires at the end of the season, but he expects to agree a one-year extension. Now, the source on this is actually Lucas himself. He's given an interview to a Polish news outlet, a Polish media outlet. I'm not going to pronounce their name. It's here. Here it is. You can see why I'm not going to pronounce it, because I would butcher it and I don't want to do that. I feel disrespectful if I do. I've already taken a risk with one player's name today. I'm going to take a risk with another name later. This one I'm not going to take a name of. If you're Polish, do let me know how to pronounce it in the comments below. Or if you just know, or if you're just smarter than me, which is probably all of you, let me know how to pronounce it because I'm not going to try. But Lucas has been given he was given an interview in this Polish media outlet, and this is what he had to say. As far as I can tell, there have been some preliminary talks already going on. I hope that we will calmly come to a good solution for both sides. I do not see any reason for it to be otherwise. It's not only West Ham's policy, that footballers of a certain age extend from season to season. It's actually a logical solution for many reasons. It's a kind of risk minimization. Of course, the most important thing in all of this is health and sports level. If I can manage these aspects, I have no problem with extending the contract. The Premier League is a top footballer's dream, and I feel good enough to play a little more here. I will judge that step by step, but looking at Artur Boric or many other goalkeepers, you can successfully play up until 40. Now, Lucas, obviously his contract comes to an end this season, and I was kind of expecting him to be on the way out, but I would more than welcome him coming back and having another season at the club. I would more than welcome that, because right now we're in a beautiful situation where we have two genuine first team level goalkeepers happening, two genuine first choice level goalkeepers. The last time I remember that happening was probably when we had WHUFC and Adrian, at the same time, WHUFC Yasagan and Adrian, but that was obviously at a new Premier League club level, not a Europa League level, right? Both of these goalkeepers could start for probably most teams in the Europa League. A vast majority of teams in the Europa League. And that's a beautiful thing to have, because it means that when we flip and rotate, when we have so many games, the levels of goalkeeping don't drop. You see it. Areola stepped in last night and I thought had an absolutely brilliant game. And look, this might be getting ahead of myself, but say we do get Europa League football or some level football of Europe next season, it's beautiful to have two first choice level goalkeepers competing, trying to raise each other's levels. I would love this. How would you feel? Would you want Lucas Fabianski to re-sign at the club? Let me know in the comments below. I personally would love to see it. And I hope we figure it out. And then the last two news stories are both stuff Gio has already worked on. I will put the link in the description up here, not in the description, in the cards up here when we talk about them, so you can go and watch those videos fully. But I felt like it's worth touching on them just to get a full sort of perspective of what's going on at West Ham right now, and also just to get your opinions on it. The first one is, of course, that West Ham United have been granted permission for the London Stadium capacity to increase this coming way of the club's site. Two news stories from the club site, both incredibly positive. West Ham United at the moment. Wild. West Ham United is delighted to confirm the planning permission has been granted to increase the matchday capacity at the London Stadium to 62,500, with an extra 2,500 seats set to be released once the safety certificate application has been completed. West Ham United will be able to once again look forward to breaking the club's record attendance and welcoming more of our loyal supporters to the Hammers matches. I love the flowery use of language on the club's website. It's always very emotive, for no real reason. This will meet the club's growing demand for tickets. They go on to talk about how we're getting capacity crowds in the Premier League, in the Europa League, and even in the League Cup with a sellout last night, and then saying the expansion is another positive step forward in the club's Allow me to rephrase that. Itchy nose, being a stupid idiot, made me flop. The expansion is another positive step forward for the club and ultimately reaching the stadium's full capacity, now close to 67,000 due to enhancements to the Bobby Moore and Sir Trevor Brooking stands. We already have one of the biggest stadiums in the Premier League. That will make us the biggest stadium in London for Premier League football. Only Wembley would beat it. It's a massive step and it's a massive thing. If you watch Gio's video, which is of course in the cards right now, then you will know I hold basically the exact same opinion as him. We have a lot of season tickets, and that's an amazing thing to have. Consistent selling of tickets, consistent income is a grand old thing, but it does limit those one-off sales. And when you're in as many competitions as we are, when you're doing as well as we are, there's a lot more opportunity for those one-off sales. You know, people who can't go to games usually, can't commit to go to games usually, are probably a lot more likely to try and make time to go to those games if we're doing incredibly well. And right now we are. I suspect there's a big market for extra tickets right now. Not extra season tickets, just extra one-off tickets. They are a higher cost, right? If you take a season ticket, you divide it by the amount of games you're paying less per ticket than you would otherwise. This would increase our revenue, both in terms of just in general, because there's more seats, but also more one-off tickets. They're being sold at a higher rate. They're more valuable to the club in that sense. I think this is a really good thing. I think this is a great thing, and hopefully it can help us in the future financially. Speaking of the future finance, Czech billionaire Daniel Kretinsky is considering buying a minority stake in West Ham. Again, Gio did do a video on this morning. It's in the cards above right now. This is coming way of The Athletic and Matt Slater. I will put a link to this article in the description below, so you can go and check it out, because I would encourage you to. There's lots of interesting information, but I'll give you just the top line of it basically, so you can then go forth and discover it yourself, which I would heavily encourage you to do. Czech billionaire Daniel Kretinsky is considering the purchase of a minority stake in West Ham United, The Athletic understands. The 46-year-old, who is known as the Czech Sphinx because of inscrutable investment style, is expected to buy 27% of the Premier League club initially, but may eventually take a majority stake at a later date. This is very exciting for me. This deal, which has been months in the making, would therefore spell the beginning of the end of West Ham's so-called GSB era, a reference to the majority owners and co-chairman David Gold and David Sullivan, and vice chair Karen Brady, who have controlled the club since 2010. The staged nature of the proposed deal is understood to be linked to a clause in the club's agreement with their ultimate landlords at the London Stadium, the London Legacy Development Corporation, the LLDC. If you've heard those phrases before, that's what it stands for. Which, I said that like you don't know. You almost 100% know, but there you go. I've told you anyway. I apologise. Which says Gold and Sullivan must pay a percentage of any profit they make on a sale to the club to the London taxpayers. This would be worked out on a sliding scale with no windfall tax liable if the club went for less than 125 million, but the 20% on anything over 300 million. The clause expires in March 2023. Now, before PAI, I was convinced that DSB would be here until March 2023. I felt like what might happen is you might see someone like Tripp, someone come in and invest in the club and then eventually take on more controlling shares. So it's not a takeover. It's nothing like that. They can escape paying that extra tax and they can make all of the money they want to, which is probably a lot. This is the biggest deal any of those people are probably ever going to do in their lives, right? We heard with PAI how David Sullivan was saying their bids weren't coming close to what David Sullivan rated the club at. We're seeing this, the amount of money he's supposedly investing in the 27% would value the club at, where is it? It said it's somewhere here. Kretinsky's planned investment is understood to value the club in the region of 600 million, significantly more than the 2 bids GSB received from PAI. There you go. This is very, very exciting. And not only is it very, very exciting because you're seeing someone with the funds to buy a Premier League club come and trying to take us to the next level, which is something we need. It's also someone who has footballing experience. He has, I think, a 40% stake in Sparta Prague. So the guy knows what he's doing. He understands football. He understands how to run a football club. And he's also incredibly rich. I know some people are pointing out, wow, 4 million's nothing because we've just seen 4 billion, sorry, not 4 million. 4 billion's nothing because we've just seen the Newcastle takeover or whatever. The amount of money isn't necessarily important. It obviously is, but it's what's more important is you know how to spend it. And here's a guy who knows how to run a football club. And that's the most exciting thing for me, is having someone who can come in and do that. How do you feel about it? Let me know in the description below. Like I say, I highly encourage you going to check out the Athletics article. It's below. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about it. And hey, how you feel about all of the stories today, all incredibly positive things. What a time to be alive. I'm incredibly happy. I hope you are too. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe if you're around here. Of course, we will have the, I believe we have the preview going up tomorrow at some point. I'm not sure. But we've got a lot of videos coming up leading up into the Villa game at the weekend. But of course, we'll have our full slate of match day coverage. Please come back, watch or subscribe, hit that bell icon, all that good stuff. Remember the OneFootball app. Thank you very much to those people. And we will see you next time. Come on your irons and all that. Cheers, everyone. Like, what a time to be alive. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to wave. See you later, everyone. Bye.